Hey everybody, welcome back to the Master Wing channel. Thank you for tuning in. It is Wingspan time. We have a great video for you today. Obviously, we have a special guest. We have Knack Nestor. Welcome to the channel. What's going on?
Hey, not too much. Really excited to be here. Thanks for doing this collab with me. This is going to be a lot of fun.
As for today, we have a very exciting topic. Obviously, with Oceania coming out, the game has changed significantly, and that's what we're going to address. We have the top 5 birds. We're each going to give our top 5 from the base game, European expansion to now. With so many changes, there's so many birds that just need a second look, and that's what we're here for today. So hopefully this is helpful, maybe improve your game and make you think twice about some of these birds that might have been forgotten back in the base and European expansion. So here we go. So let's get right into it. My first bird on the most improved from the base game is the California quail, laying an egg in the forest. It was mediocre in the base game just because it was 3 food cost. It took some time to get down. If you did commit to it, it kind of took away from your tempo in round 1. And then with all the grassland and egg laying, it just felt maybe this bird wasn't the right choice, like it was a waste. And especially when you have the chipping sparrow out there, you're just like, I think I'm going to pass on this bird. But now, when we're seeing more forest engines, more of those air sando layouts, and with starting nectar, you can just get it down turn 1. I think the California quail is much improved.
I agree. I felt the same way. I really only ever used the California quail if it was truly in my starting hand, and even then, you need to keep a worm and a wheat. So if you had several other useful birds, sometimes I'd toss it. So I kind of felt the same way, and I feel the same way about my first bird. Let's go ahead and transition. It is, drum roll,
the dreaded,
the wood duck. This one was also fairly useful in the base game, the European set. In Oceania, though, like my colleague has said, you get that nectar right off the start, you play it, you just feel so powerful already. You're getting to look at 2 birds, you're getting 2 food on turn 2, just so many resources. This also seems to pair well with a lot of birds now. You get a yellow-rumped warbler, you get an American robin, those 2 tuck and draws. Before or after the wood duck, they're both great. It really fits. I really love wood duck in the Oceania set.
Totally agree. Like you said, top tier bird now. I mean, you're almost set for the entire game with card draw. Almost. I like it.
Yeah, I've gone entire games just getting cards off of a wood duck and still broken 120, and it just feels easy. It depends on what you draw for sure. You can definitely draw garbage, but it's so unlikely to draw garbage the entire game with wood duck. You can build forest engines which are so powerful out of it, similar to the quail. So what do you got for your second bird?
Second bird, maybe a sleeper. Somewhat surprised because we didn't see it a whole lot in the base game. Let me play with this filter here, try to find it.
Yeah, this bird never got used in the base game. I think I tried it once when I unboxed it, and I was like, yeah, this is useless.
Yes. So this one, the hooded Merganser,
there it is.
Some people just forget about it because you don't play it. 5 points, okay, but you can only repeat a predator power, and in the base game you had, the Northern Harrier, the Peregrine Falcon, the what was that other bird? I'm trying to think, maybe like a red-tailed hawk. But you would save those birds. You would save those birds normally for your grassland to add that point scoring, and so it just seems so situational that do I really want to repeat a Northern Harrier power? Yeah. But now, I'm telling you, I just did a quick look. Let me go back to just Oceania here. Oceania, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they added 8 predator powers that are either high point values or a decent chance of success. I don't know if I'm going to show all these birds, but just real quickly, the white-bellied sea eagle, the little penguin. Yes, I mean, who doesn't love that? And then you repeating that would add to the suspense. The wedge-tailed eagle, 7 points. I don't know how successful that one is. I've had great success with the white-faced heron. And then, like I said, there's 8 of them. The gray butcher bird. We could go on and on about these. The tawny frogmouth, the brown falcon, and last but not least, the 1-point laughing kookaburra. I kind of forget that it's a predator, but you could be gaining food in the wetlands and repeating that. And so that just, in my mind, brings the hooded merganser just more playability.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially the little penguin. I hardly ever get this going, but if I have a copy bird with a little penguin, there was one game I was playing with a buddy of mine. I had a little penguin first, and then I found the gray catbird and the hooded merganser. That penguin had like 40 cached fish on it by the end of the game. I don't think I hardly played anything else. I just wanted to see how much I could get on the penguin. It was an awful game, but it was so fun to try it.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm tipping my hat. Y'all keep a lookout for the hooded merganser. It's not that bad anymore. I think it got an upgrade.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of predators, my next bird was one of my favorite predators in the base game, but I felt like I never got a chance to play it. It is the great horned owl. This bad boy, really fantastic artwork, just a really good feel to use this bird. You got 3 rodents, you got this, this badass owl. Are we cool with swearing on your channel? I'll cut this out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah, so we got this badass looking bird. If you've ever seen these in real life, they're just as badass looking. It's just it feels right to play this bird. And now in Oceania, with such good food access, with nectar and rodents that you can now use on this, it just feels so useful. You see it in the tray, and it's actually a great either point bomb or even better, a great engine builder to extend your forest engine. You play it in that 2nd, 3rd, 4th slot, and you're just gaining probably 5-6 points off of it by the end of the game. Just really powerful bird now. Again, it was just so hard to play it in the base set because there's no way to generate extra rodents, and there still isn't a way to generate extra rodents, but there's a lot of ways to generate extra nectar and get something like great horned owl down.
Yes, totally agree. Like you said, you'd play this as a bird bomb later, but then it felt like you were missing out on the brown power kind of earlier in the game, and that 100 centimeters, like, that's a really good chance of success. So 100% agree.
Yeah.
Got an upgrade for sure with Oceania. Let's move to the next bird here. A little lower point total, but I think people might expect this one. We'll see. It is a teal power, and let me find it for us so we can look at it while we talk about it. It is the common starling, okay? One of my personal favorites. I picked the common starling over the Eurasian colored dove just because it could go in the wetlands, but still, both birds discarding up to 5 wild food from your supply. You know what I'm going to say. With this nectar, and sometimes the abundance of nectar and the abundance of food, just like you mentioned in Oceania, it just feels like your trump card in your back pocket for the end of the round, the end of the game. You're not worried about wasting your nectar, or like, oh man, what am I going to do with 3 extra nectar? I only have 2 turns left. It's there for you, and it counts towards the nectar battle when you do discard that nectar. So I just think with the abundance of Oceania food, what we're seeing, that this is a top, I don't know about S tier, but definitely a top tier teal power.
If you put it in S tier, I might question you, but if you put it in A tier, I'd be right with you, because this can swing the end of game nectar power at the end. If you have a great forest engine, that's what you're pairing this with, and if this is in your grasslands and you've got a point bomb to play in your wetlands and you've got a ton of extra food, including some nectar, and you need to decide where they go, having the ability to ditch nectar at the end of the round gives you just a little more flexibility so that you're tying that nectar battle. You're winning that nectar battle rather than just ditching it where you have to. It's very, very useful. And
also,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. That's fine.
I was going to say things like the Spangled Drongo or what's that pigeon? Or I think it's some sort of parrot where you give your nectar to an opponent and you get more food.
Yes.
So I find these things can be a little awkward when you're the one receiving that nectar. Someone can ditch a nectar over to you or grant you one with the Drongo or something at the last at that last turn, and you can't use it because you have to do this other action, or now you've got 5 nectar and there's no way you can spend it all. This saves you from those situations where people can't ditch you nectar when you can't use it now. It
absolutely
adds utility to it.
Piggybacking on that point, that we can't ignore the sharing birds. And technically, if you had a nightingale, a blue throat, I know the sulfur-crested cockatoo gives nectar to everybody. The silver eye gives nectar to everybody. Technically, on your last round, if you activated that, all players would gain a nectar, but of course, they would discard it while you get a tuck. So, just the sharing aspect of it, I like it. It got an upgrade.
Yeah, totally.
Let's move on. What else you got?
I'm going to talk about the copy birds, mockingbird and catbird.
Okay.
Gray mockingbird, gray catbird.
It's somewhere here.
Yeah, these birds were useful in the previous set. They felt like they had a really high, northern mockingbird. That's what it is. They felt like they had their place if you were running a full tuck engine in the base set, or if you were you could pop this right in your grasslands engine that everybody seemed to build. They were good, but in Oceania, with birds being so much easier to get down, I find that better brown powers to pair this with are way easier for your tempo, easier on your tempo to get them down, and then follow it with a mockingbird so that you can really get a lot more punch out of that repeat. Like the wood duck that I've just mentioned. If you start with a wood duck and a mockingbird in your opening hand, you play wood duck turn 1, you take the food you need for mockingbird turn 2, you lay eggs turn 3, you've got it down turn 4. You've got your mockingbird and your wood duck. But in the previous set, it would take you so much longer and so many more turns to get those 2 down. You still wanted to do something like that, but you wouldn't have it down until the end of the first round. Maybe. Depending on what else showed up. So I really like these birds a lot more in the Oceania set. They just feel so much more useful.
Absolutely. Like you said, easier to get down, and when you pair it with a stronger bird, even that California quail we mentioned earlier, I mean, your egg issue is set. You just upgraded your other birds. So 100% agree. Yeah. I like it.
Totally.
All right. Let's move on. We do have some kickers here towards the end, so stay with us, guys. You might be surprised what we reveal. It'll be interesting. So maybe some disagreement. We'll see. My next bird, which I think I've featured on one of my videos, is the green heron. Stay with me. Some of you are rolling your eyes out there, but it was an okay base game bird. I didn't see a lot of screen time on it just because you're kind of like, who cares if you're trading? But of course, with the addition of nectar, I feel like it's turning from an okay bird to a great starting wetland bird. It's easy to play. You start off that first slot, you throw it in there, and let's just say you had 2 or 3 food from your starting hand. You draw cards twice, and now all of a sudden you have 3 nectar instead of just 1. That exchange, I think, is really powerful, especially if the bird feeder isn't really participating with you, or your opponent like sniped 2 of the early game nectar. To trade that, and then on the flip side, let's just say you're towards the end of the round and you're like, man, I actually have too much nectar. I only have 2 nectar. What do I do with it? If you trade the nectar, obviously that's going to that spent space for that wetland habitat while you still get, you know, a rat or a worm or whatever. So I think this is going to be a bird that sees more playability. What do you think?
Yeah, my only complaint about this bird is that you can't ditch a nectar with it to just gain 1 back and put 1 in your spent nectar in the wetlands.
You can. You can.
You can do that? I swear when I tried that with my game, it wouldn't let me.
Are you serious?
Maybe man, should we play test this? We might have to follow this up. Someone in the comments, if you have information, please confirm. If you can trade a nectar and gain a nectar right back and basically put 1 in your spent nectar tray, then tell Knack Nester he needs to do some better research. But I swear when I tried this the other day, it wouldn't let me actually gain it.
Okay. But, so you're trying to trade a nectar for a nectar. Okay, I got what you're saying.
Right.
I was thinking we trade the nectar, we get the spent, and then we get just something normal. Okay, right. That makes sense.
So yeah, so what I want to do is just trade a nectar and then gain a nectar right back, and I can keep my nectar and also put 1 in the spent tray. I think that may be a little too powerful, but I don't know. That's what it says. Trade 1 wheel, gain any wheel, but either way.
That's true.
Hey everybody, this is future Knack Nester. I just wanted to clarify that I do know how to read. Unfortunately, my past self did not utilize this skill very well. The Green Heron clearly says you trade 1 wheel for any other wheel from the supply. Clearly, you cannot gain the same wheel back, so that's why you can't trade a nectar and gain 1 back. Cheers!
But either way.
That's true. That's true.
Other than that, I mean, you pair this with, what is it, the osprey? Normally a bad bird, but it's like, oh no, I can just take the fish, trade it for a nectar, and what, I have to give my opponent a fish? Whoop-de-doo.
Yep.
And honestly, the osprey, when you play it, it's a 5-point bird for 1 food. That's already pretty efficient. And then pair it with a green heron, it costs you 2 to get these 2 down. Now you're building a pretty decent engine out of your wetlands that can get you extra food and get you those cards, and it was super cheap. So yeah, I'm a fan of the green heron. I think it has a place for sure.
And the people are liking the main duck a lot too, where it gets you that seed, where you tuck 3 cards and you get a seed. That might pair well. It's not a bird that you revolve your entire game around, right? But I'm just saying, from base game, I just personally never played it, and now I'm playing it more, and it helps. So that's my take.
Totally. So to talk about my 4th bird.
What you got?
I really love the yellowhammer, Multoney's warbler, and the 3rd teal play a bird at the end of the round. Remind me what that one's
called. The white wagtail? Is it white wagtail?
That's correct, yep.
Yes.
I love these birds now. I thought they were so awkward in the European set. I could never actually use them well. You know, in the European set, you really wanted to build a good engine. You really wanted to just focus on 1 row. And that principle still stays. You know, in Oceania, if you can build a solid engine in 1 row, you know, it feels right. You're still playing fine. Multoney's, this is your out. If you can't find a great engine to build, or you just, you know, you have a couple different birds that are engines in the wrong row, you know, like that metal lark that you just passed, the grasshopper sparrow right there, where it's like, this bird's not that good, but it lays an egg, and okay. And then I've also got Savvy's warbler. I'm drawing 2 cards when I take cards. Or I've got a rainbow lorikeet, and I've got plenty of food access, but I don't have anything to follow it up. These birds can be so valuable, and now you're just looking for value. You're looking for value out of any row.
Yes.
You need food access to make these work. That's really your limiting factor. But in Oceania, that's pretty easy to find. And you just basically, if you get this down in round 1, you have to take a slight tempo hit, and you get 4 extra play-a-birds this game if you plan this out. Another thing I really love about this bird, about these birds, they force me to slow down and plan things out. They literally just make me play better. They're like a personal steroid. Like, it's not that this is just like a pseudo effect, but when I'm playing with one of these, I'm thinking so much more ahead of time, and it makes me play much better Wingspan.
100%. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, with the base game, to make these work, I just felt like I needed a ton of extra food. Oh, the white wagtail's right here. Yeah, just a ton of extra food, because you're like, man, I'm planning out all these turns. Am I going to have enough food? And then, of course, the wild nectar resource. I know we're a broken record here, but with the just plethora of food that you're able to, I think these birds are leading towards 120, 130 scores, like, consistently. So I like it. All right, guys, we have 2 more birds left, and maybe you can guess them, maybe you can't, but we think that they're kickers here. I am going to go with the suspense, the dirty Blackheaded Goal. Guys, just when you thought this bird was dirty, it's getting dirtier. It is so annoying. It is taking annoying to another level here. Of course, everybody knows it's one of the few stealing birds in the game, and in base game, like, yes, you're trying to second guess yourself. What is he going to steal from me? What do I need to take from the bird feeder? But now most everybody is going to be selecting nectar from the bird feeder, and it was a little tough to completely rely on the Blackheaded Goal in the base game European expansion, because you get a rat and you're like, well, I'm glad I annoyed him, but that doesn't really help me. But now you're stealing nectar, and maybe there's only one nectar in the bird feeder, and you're just like really messing up that plan, because they're trying to play 3 food cost birds, and they really want to use that nectar. And now the Blackheaded Goal is just nitpicking, and I just think that makes it exceptionally strong now. With that extra food source, I can more fully rely on the Blackheaded Goal.
Yeah, I completely agree. This bird, I hate this bird. I feel I have to play it when I get it, especially if I've got it in the first round. I will 100% play it. And don't get me wrong, you can play around this bird. It is a pain in the butt. It is just, when you see your opponent play a Blackheaded Goal, you have 2 options. You are going to be food scarce the entire game, or you have to build a crazy forest engine and just be overloaded on food. Both of which don't feel right. You know, having too much food or not having enough. And when you've played a Blackheaded Goal, what you're really looking to do is just double down. You want to play a Spangled Drungo. That's a card you kind of always want to play. But if you pair this with a Spangled Drungo, it's like, okay, so now I can't take nectar for myself. I can't keep... I am giving you nectar if I do. I can't take the nectar out of the tray when you steal what I actually need. It sucks.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Go ahead.
So even the pink powers, where it's like, you know, you pair this with an American Avocet, and now I can't lay eggs effectively, and I can't take food effectively. I literally, I mean, unless I'm running a full tech engine, I'm kind of lost. What am I supposed to do now?
Exactly. And you can build up that wetlands, and now you're gaining food, you're gaining, like you said, maybe an egg here and there. You pair that with some predators, and all of a sudden you're looking at a strong wetland engine, and you're just grabbing birds, playing birds, grabbing birds, playing birds. I've never rage quit a Wingspan game, but this bird may make you rage quit.
I've played against some like full pink power games that just made me not want to play, and this is one of those birds that makes me not want to play as much. But I feel you there. I've never rage quit a game, but this one makes me think about it.
Exactly. All right, man. That was my last of the top 5. What's your kicker?
All right. This is the hottest take of 2024 so far. We are looking at Theas Lark.
Oh, Theas Lark.
Theas Lark was absolutely useless in the base set. I don't even know if you have it revealed because you probably never played it, which is hilarious to me.
What?
So,
I did not play this. Hold on.
I
have to like try to find this bird. Hold on.
That's how much of a hot take this is, because you see it and you're like, cool, it's fodder for my Benelli's eagle. Cool, I can tuck and draw with this, or I can tuck and get an egg. But I have used this bird on purpose in my starting hand and won a game of Wingspan.
Okay.
I promise this bird has a use. What I love, and again, this video is about birds that got better. This isn't birds that are good. I'm not saying Theas Lark is an S or A or even a B tier bird. It is no longer an F tier bird. That's my hot take. This bird can be a situational C to B tier bird. We love red-legged partridge. Everybody loves that bird. All right, you play it, you get 3 eggs. Instant engine. I've heard you say that in a video before. Your instant engine, just add wheat. All right, Theas Lark is your poor man's red-legged partridge. All right, this bird, if you're building a good forest engine, but you need to keep the tempo going. All right, you need to get this forest engine out, and you need 4 total eggs to get this down. I'm telling you, this is how it works. It's in your opening hand. You've got a bunch of forest engines. You get your first one down. You get the food you need. And then you play the Theas Lark, second bird. And then, hopefully, you stashed 1 extra wheat. You lay eggs once. You get 4 eggs on 1 action. And those 4 eggs, that's what you need to get that forest engine out. You don't have to lay eggs anymore. And that's what you want to do in Oceania. You don't need to lay eggs. This is not an engine builder. I have to do this. I have to put 1 here to get 2 eggs. And now I ditch that wheat, I get 4. And now those 4 eggs will sit there as long as I need them. All right, maybe this fits your end around bonus too. Maybe this also fits your nest type for whatever. If that happens, great, but I'm telling you, this is a tempo play. You only need to lay eggs 2 or 3 times throughout the game now, because you can ditch that spare wheat you've got from your forest engine and throw it down. Pair it with a Tui? No, don't do that. That's a trap. Tui is an engine builder. All right, and that's a waste of a turn. That's a 0-point bird. No. You just take 1 of your spare wheats, you ditch it for 2 extra eggs. It's like the red-shouldered kite. Is that red-shouldered? Black-shouldered kite. That's the one.
Yeah.
Black-shouldered kite. You basically re-roll and you can ditch. You don't need the food ahead of time, but we love black-shouldered kite because you get 3 extra eggs and it gives you so much tempo. Same thing with bush. It's just a poor man's version of that kite, of that red-legged partridge, where it just gives you that tempo to just play the things you want and you don't have to worry about eggs near as much. I've used it before, I've kept it in a starting hand, and I've broken 120 in a game. I'm not saying it was like the reason I did, but it helped. And I'm a believer in Theas Lark. I think it actually has a use now that Oceania is out.
No, you've convinced me. I mean, this video is about improved birds, and I mean, let's be honest. The scarcity of eggs, like you talked about, having to only lay eggs 1 or 2 times. There's several birds. I know there's a cockatoo that hands out seeds. There's the gala, one of the best birds in the game. Your opponent will give you
counter to the gala.
Gala counter Theas Lark.
Perfect.
No, I'm with you. I'm gonna play it. I was laughing just because I don't even have it on the screen because I just have it, bro. But I'm gonna look at it because, like you said, there's gonna be a lot of extra food, and if I can get four eggs in an activation, I mean, it might be worth it. I'm feeling it.
There's that American goldfinch on the screen right there. That's 6 eggs. That's what I see. That's not 3 wheat. That's 6 eggs.
Exactly. There's one too. Okay.
There it is.
Guys.
There it is.
Guys, This was amazing. I'm really going to look out for these birds. Tell us what you think in the comments. Of course, check out Knack Nestor's channel. I will put that link in the description. We always appreciate your support. We love this game called Wingspan, and we're trying to improve our game ourselves. So I hope you enjoyed it. And Knack Nestor, excuse me, any closing thoughts?
None. I want to revamp that. We all really appreciate your support. Likes and subscribes really do go a long way.
100%. All right, guys, thank you. And see you next time on the Master Wing channel. Knack Nestor, been a pleasure. We're going to do another video, so stay tuned.
We will.
Have a good night. Peace.
Peace.